Why are Americans so proud that they voted? Unfortunately, we historically have poor voter turnout, where your country has about 84% of eligible voters participating. The U.S. voter turnout is around 54%. Trying to get others involved seems necessary, because so many of them do not vote. They're trying to get the people who don't vote to go and vote by guilt-tripping them. As an American, 1. Voting has always been hyped up in our culture. A big part of the revolution where we broke off from England was around the contention over paying taxes to England without having any voice in how we were governed. No taxation without representation. Voting is often considered a precious thing that many people had to die for us to have. This rhetoric, rightly or wrongly, tends to get associated with all our military efforts overseas in the name of safeguarding our liberties by increasing democracy in other countries. 2. Despite this, voting also tends to be chronically low. People's reasons for not voting are varied, but probably the most commonly stated reason is a growing lack of faith in our voting system to accurately reflect the will of the people. They protest the flaws of the voting system by not voting, even though this seems foolish to me. The other large concern is a person's availability to vote. For whatever reason, we have never made voting day a national holiday, so it is up to states and individual employers to decide if and how they will make time for employees to leave work to vote. For the many people living paycheck to paycheck, they can't afford to lose a day's wages and can't leave work. For many states, this isn't a legally allowed reason for voting by mail, absentee voting. Yes, there is a huge debate going on right now about how our voting system seems to deliberately disenfranchise the poorest of our society. The counter-argument is usually, something we have to prevent voter fraud. This is pretty dumb, though, because the evidence shows voter fraud isn't a real concern here. 3. Many minority groups, women, Black American, LGBTQ+, will post a lot of hype that they voted, particularly because they can be the groups that most fervently seek political change in our society and can feel, rightly or wrongly, but I think rightly, they are the primary targets of voter suppression. They want to encourage others like themselves to vote along with them, as it increases the odds they will be successful in swaying the vote. A friend of mine, who is over 60, had to wait 8 hours to vote in 2004. He deserves a sticker and a cookie. If you didn't vote, you have no right to bitch about the outcome. Now note, we don't always say how we voted, so we can bitch about the outcome either way. Our Ask an American would be a good place for this. I'm in the UK, specifically Scotland, and a lot of us are very vocal about voting too. I mean, dude, to be one of the few of Americans that care enough about the country to vote is a big thing here. We understand the amount of power the president, well, Congress, wields, so we try to be a part of it. Especially since officially she is supposed to work for us. A civil servant. Why are Americans so proud that they voted? Mostly see it here on Reddit, where people post pictures of their "I voted" stickers. Those "I voted" stickers aren't exactly about pride. It's more to encourage others to vote. Here in the US, we have serious issues with voter turnout. It's partly apathy, partly genuine suppression, but the end result is that 50% turnout is considered good. Here is a good podcast from Stuff You Should Know About Voter Suppression. It's rather amazing how creative states are in establishing obstacles to vote. We're trying to get people to jump on the bandwagon. Sorta how when people posted all those video of eating Tide Pods, and a bunch of other people started doing it like that, but with voting. The current shit show of a circus that's been going on in the USA for the last 4 years. It was caused by people not bothering to vote out of apathy. Bullshit, Bernie got screwed over, so I'm going to let the world burn to ash. Refusals to vote. And people who didn't see a need to vote because Trump was so obviously unfit to be US. They figured he had no chance of being elected and prioritized jobs, work, school, other things over voting. Showing people you voted is a way of saying, this is important. We need to avoid a repeat of our fuck-up 4 years ago. I got off my ass and voted. So can you. Quote. We love patting ourselves on the back when we do the bare minimum of acceptable behavior and expect a cookie for it. So they can pretend that politics makes them intellectually enlightened when in reality it's just an opinion. But they do get to bitch about something that barely affects their lives until the next election. Because America's two-party system needs a large spectacle to try to take attention away from the two parties being almost the same, as well as try to get votes from people who see no point in voting for the very same reason. Because they actually think they're doing something that'll change politics.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.